Next on Worcester News tonight, the Worcester Police and Fire Departments face off in a battle, but it's all for a good cause. Plus, in honor of her 5th birthday, a young girl is giving back to the hospital where she spent the first few days of her life. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Lemon. The Worcester Police and Fire Departments battling it out in some friendly competition Thursday. This is the second year of the Battle of the Badges blood drive at the DCU Center. The department's goals were to recruit as many blood donors as possible. Our Rosalind Flaherty joins us now to explain. Rosalind?
The drive has collected more than 200 units of blood, which is more than they collected last year, and the departments say it's a great competition, but it's the community that benefits the most. The Worcester Police and Fire Departments are battling it out to see who can get the most people to donate blood.
It goes to show how community-oriented both departments are.
The Red Cross, they come out to all our fires. This is a great way to give back to the Red Cross, and just a good team effort.
The Battle of the Badges comes as the American Red Cross faces an emergency blood shortage. They say blood products are being distributed to hospitals faster than donations are coming in.
In the summer months, it's just really hard. People aren't necessarily thinking about donating blood. They're thinking about the beach or who's going to pick up the kids from camp. There's a million other things going through in your mind. But unfortunately, hospital patients don't get to choose when they need that blood.
Police Chief Stephen Sargent says first responders see the need up close every day.
If somebody is injured on the scene, and then the fact that we're getting the blood right to them is what saves their lives.
The Worcester Railers Hockey Club will be donating $1,500 to the charity of the winner's choice.
It's another great community event that we're proud to be involved with. There's always a really big need for blood.
And although police and fire like the healthy competition, they say the real winners are the Red Cross and the community.
I hope fire wins, but the community actually benefits the most.
Look at the response from both fire and police.
Now the results are in, and police have won for the second year in a row, so they'll be giving a donation to the charity of their choice. Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
Worcester firefighters fighting a 2-alarm fire at an abandoned home early this morning. The flames broke out around 1 a.m. in the vacant building on Charlton Street. 3 firefighters suffered minor injuries, but they are expected to be okay. The fire department says anytime there is a fire at an abandoned building, they always proceed with caution before entering.
Abandoned buildings are tough for us. We say that it's abandoned. We know going into it that it's supposedly a vacant building, but we can't assume that any building is vacant, and especially where people do tend to squat in these buildings, we have to assume that someone's in them. So, we try very hard to make entry as fast as possible and at least get an initial search done to make sure that everyone's safe.
And the cause of the fire remains under investigation. The Worcester County Jail and House of Correction Facebook page is temporarily suspended. Officials say they were getting angry comments about one of their officers' tattoos. This picture was posted on the Massachusetts Bail Fund Facebook page. It displays the number 88 below the uniform sleeve. The post claimed the tattoo was racist. The number 88 is viewed by some as a representation of the Nazi salute. Meanwhile, the superintendent of the facility says the tattoo is the number the officer wore as a football player at Norwich University and includes the school shield. Worcester police are gearing up to ride in the Pan Mass Challenge this weekend. The PMC raises more money than any other athletic event in the country, with thousands of riders and volunteers fundraising for Dana-Farber. Our Chandler Walsh has the story.
Worcester police officer Jonathan Dage is a 3-time cancer survivor. JD was diagnosed with testicular cancer in 2013, and after surgery and becoming cancer-free, it came back.
I found 6 tumors in my chest and lungs, so the testicular cancer had spread throughout the body. Went back for a follow-up. They found a tumor in the brain.
JD has had part of his lungs removed and multiple surgeries and rounds of chemo and radiation. Once in remission, he started a Pan Mass Challenge team with fellow Worcester officers called Thin Blue Ride. Started
riding a bike during the lung surgeries, or right before it actually. I figured it was better than running, so kind of fell in love with it from there.
Coming up on 4 years in remission this weekend, JD and his team are biking in the PMC for the 4th year. The officers ride for JD and their own families.
His story is definitely inspirational. I wanted to do whatever I could to help him out.
I've had people in my family die from cancer, so it's personal and friendship causes.
7 members of Thin Blue Ride will bike just under 200 miles from Sturbridge to Provincetown, raising money for cancer. Their motivation comes from each other and fellow riders.
Riding up a hill on day one of the Pan Mass, feeling bad for myself, and a guy with one leg is riding up past me. So I wait till we get to the top and we start a conversation, and he only has one lung as well.
The team says being surrounded by thousands of people in support of the same cause is an incredible feeling.
People will be there with their kids and signs says, because of you, he's alive. It's an awesome experience.
Thin Blue Ride also turned into a nonprofit in the last year and a half, raising money for the Pan Mass Challenge and military and first responders families touched by cancer. They've raised about $45,000 this year. Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
Thousands of other riders and volunteers will participate in the Pan Mass Challenge this weekend. This is the PMC's 39th year. Some riders we spoke with in Central Mass say all families are touched by cancer in some way. They're participating with a purpose this year.
Many friends, family, relatives, but probably the most impactful was I lost my mom to lung cancer.
I've never had the opportunity to volunteer in years past, so I really wanted to this year.
Once in my 20s and again 10 years later in my 30s, 2 different cancers, Dana-Farber was able to step in and with the research that they do, able to get a hold of the disease and treat it and ultimately cure me.
And the Pan Mass Challenge is this weekend with multiple different routes riders can take. The event's fundraising goal this year is $52 million. Today, voters in Charlton may soon decide whether or not to ban recreational marijuana businesses in their town, but it's much more complicated than that. Alicia Palumbo is in Charlton to explain.
I think we're in uncharted territory a bit.
Charlton residents will get to vote on the November ballot whether to ban recreational marijuana businesses in town, thanks to a general bylaw petition passed at a special town meeting Wednesday night. But a vote to rescind the town's marijuana zoning bylaw failed. Town Administrator Robin Craver says if the ballot measure passes, the 2 bylaws would conflict, and the Attorney General's office would likely get involved.
The AG may come back and say you need to do a zoning bylaw to effectuate this whole piece because you have a bylaw that regulates already, plus you have businesses already here.
One of those businesses, Valley Green Grow of North Andover, plans to build an 800,000 to 1.5 million square foot greenhouse for cannabis research, as well as medical and recreational cultivation on the site of Charlton Orchards.
No matter what we do to appease the opposition, they won't fight fair.
Charlton Orchards owner Nathan Benjamin says there has been a campaign of misinformation spread throughout town about the planned facility. We found neighbors had mixed reaction to it.
My land abuts theirs, and I don't know if it's going to look like a spaceship landed up there at night with all the lights.
I think it's great. I think it's wonderful, but I don't think it needs to be so big.
Craver says both facilities are grandfathered in where zoning is concerned, so even if the ballot measure banning recreational marijuana passes and the AG's office has the town amend the zoning, the facilities can still operate.
Both of them would just choose to do medical marijuana and not do the recreational.
I spoke with the attorney for Valley Green Grow late this afternoon. He said recreational marijuana was already approved by the people here in town, by the Board of Selectmen, and by the town administrator. And he said, quote, because we already have a signed agreement with the community, we believe that agreement is binding. In Charlton, Alicia Palumbo, Worcester News Tonight.
A near catastrophe at Worcester Academy after a kitten was found stuck behind the grill of a car. Worcester Academy sharing these pictures of the cat who managed to crawl into the space between the bumper, hood, and engine. The owner tried to free the animal from the car but was unable. Thankfully, mechanics at BMW of Shrewsbury were able to dismantle the car to retrieve the cat. Oski, as the Worcester Academy staff named him, was brought to Worcester Animal Rescue League, where he will be put up for adoption. A 5-year-old girl is raising funds to help give back to the place where she spent the first few days of her life. Thursday, she dropped off the money to patients and doctors in the NICU at UMass Memorial Medical Center. Our Brittany Schaefer joins us now with her story. Brittany?
Olivia, when Charlie Audette was born, she had trouble breathing. Now, 5 years later, she wants to give back to the unit that saved her life.
For Charlie Audette's 5th birthday, she didn't want any presents. Instead, she decided to give back to the neonatal intensive care unit at UMass Memorial Hospital. Charlie raised hundreds of dollars for the unit who saved her life.
She's a pretty special girl, huh? She loves babies and she likes to take care of them. So I think she's always hears about us talking about the NICU because it was a big deal for us. So she just wanted to help them out.
Mother Jen Audette says her pregnancy was normal, but when Charlie was born, she was unable to breathe properly.
And when she was born, to realize that they had to like intubate and put her on CPAP and stuff, that was, scary for us.
NICU director Larry Ryan says it's special to see Charlie return 5 years later.
It's the inspiration for everything we do. So our goal here is not just to have healthy babies, but to have those children grow up to be healthy children, teenagers and adults. And so when we see someone that we've helped, someone that right now in our unit we have babies who are sick and who need our help, and our goal is to make sure that they end up being healthy 5-year-olds who can come back and visit.
UMass Memorial's NICU cares for 600 low birth weight and high-risk infants annually. Ryan says the donations make a big difference.
When we have families that come back and help give us resources and money, it means we can get equipment, it means we can get staffing to help future families.
And while the Dudley girl was a little shy Thursday,
She's so shy.
her family says they are thankful she's healthy today.
Everyone was very nice to us and they were kind and they took such good care of her and she got better very quickly.
Now, Charlie raised $460 for the NICU. Not bad for a 5th birthday earnings, right, Olivia?
That is for sure. What a great story. Thank you, Brittany.